Hi there BookTube, it's Eleanor here, and today I'm going to give you some recommendations of graphic novels that I have really enjoyed, in case you're looking for some ideas of what to pick up for the Let's Get Graphic readathon that myself and Kaitlin from KittyG are hosting on the 18th of February. It's a one-day readathon where we'll be aiming to read as many as our sort of stack of graphic novels that we own as possible. If you want to know more about it and my TBR, check out my announcement video, which I will link down below. But for today, I'm just going to be taking you through some books that I recommend that fit in with the prompts that were for the readathon. So the first prompt was to start a series or to carry on a series, to read a book that is in a series. The first one that I want to mention is Lady Killer by Joel Jones and Jamie S. Rich. I absolutely loved this. It wasn't necessarily my taste in artwork, although I don't hate it, but the story was just so compelling. So in this we've got Josie. She's a 1950s housewife. She does the cooking and cleaning all in her best dresses, and she keeps the home. She has, you know, her children, takes them to school, but on the side she's a secret deadly killing assassin, and it's how she juggles that. It's really fun. It's just a really good read and very tongue-in-cheek, and I really enjoyed it. Another series that I really loved, and I've got one more volume to read in this, but I'm not allowed to buy books, so I'll have to hold off, is Sunstone volumes 1 to 4. Sunstone is definitely a more mature graphic novel. I'm trying to find a suitable page. I really enjoyed the artwork in this. It's the story and romance of two women. So there is a lesbian romance, and it is about their exploration with BDSM. As I say, it's very sexually explicit. However, it's very loving. It shows a side of it that I think often you don't see and is often not portrayed. You often get this feel when people talk about BDSM that there's sort of a seedy, nasty side, and I'm sure there is, but this shows a relationship, a healthy relationship, where they both want to explore this side of their sexuality, and they do it in a safe way for the two of them, and I really enjoyed this series. Another series which I love is Gem and the Holograms. I've got volumes 1 and 2 here, and I've got volume 3 on my shelf, which I have to pick up soon, but I really enjoy this. The artwork is really strong and colourful, and this just is very nostalgic for me. I loved the Gem TV series growing up. I think I probably dressed up as her quite a few times, and I'm also in the minority that I quite enjoyed the latest Gem and the Holograms film, so I can't speak of this highly enough. It's just really good fun. It's about Gem and her sisters, and they're in a band. Gem has terrible stage fright, and so in order to combat that, something happens, and I won't tell you in case you haven't ever read it, but she turns into Gem, so read it and find out. Another series which I absolutely gobbled up, and I loved the I think it was a Netflix show, or I loved the show when it was on TV, was iZombie, and this is by Vertigo and by Chris Robertson and Michael Allred. It says here, look, it was on the CW. I really enjoyed this. It's really good artwork, colour palette I really enjoyed, and this is the story of Gwen. She was a budding trainee doctor. Something happens and she ends up as a zombie. However, she's not sort of your Walking Dead, eat your brain zombie, although she does need to eat brains. But she finds when she eats somebody's brains, she gets all of their thoughts and everything that's happened to them. And so she uses that to help discover how people have been killed and why. And it's just really fun. So I can't really do the new to you author and art prompt here because they're not, because they're ones I'm recommending, but all of the other ones are ones that I've really enjoyed the story and the artwork for. So the first one was American Born Chinese by Jun-Yung Lang. I really enjoyed this. It was just a really interesting story which was really fun to read. It's set in 3 parts. It's the story of a boy who moves to a new area and he's the only Chinese American at his school. It's the story of the Monkey King, which is one of China's oldest fables. And it's about Qing Qi, which is he is the ultimate negative Chinese stereotype who is trying to ruin his cousin's life. These happen in 3 separate stories that come together at the end, and it's a really good read. This particular book is the first I've read by this author and has definitely pushed me to read more, and that is Smile by Raina Telgemeier. I really enjoyed this. This is about Raina's life growing up when she has her braces. We follow what leads her to having braces and her experiences and just your general teenage issues, both without, you know, just general teenage issues, and also issues she faces about how she feels about herself because of having braces. It's a really good book and I definitely recommend it, especially if you're someone that's got braces or had braces or is going to have braces. It's just nice to know that you're not alone and everyone feels similar. It'll come as no surprise if you watch this channel that the other recommendation is Lucy Knisley books. I've got a big stack here. I've got Displacement, An Age of Innocence. I've got French Milk. I've got Relish, which was the first one I read and my favourite, which is beautiful artwork, and it's about Lucy's journey through food and her life of growing up with foodies. And the more latest one that I read, Something New, which is talks about wedding planning her wedding. It's interspersed with photos and telling you stories about what's happening. She even delves at one point in how to make things yourself to save money, and it's just a really lovely documentation of her relationship and her wedding. And I think it's great if you know anybody that's just got engaged and is planning their wedding. This is a really good one to pick up for them as a gift. And then finally, 2 bigger books that I want to recommend are Isabel Greenberg's books, The Encyclopedia of Early Earth and The 100 Nights of Hero. I really was late to the party with these, but I'm so pleased that I finally got there. The artwork isn't necessarily what I might normally pick up, but I do really enjoy it. But the stories themselves are just brilliant. They are both set in the same sort of universe or the same sort of place mythologically. So I would definitely start, I think, with the Encyclopedia of Early Earth, although it isn't necessary. I mean, you'd still be fine. But I think if you were going to read both, start with this one because it explains a lot of stuff that then is hinted at in the next one. And this is the story of one sort of lonely storyteller telling stories of different things that are sort of bringing together or not true love. And this again uses the theme of love. It's a same-sex, it's a lesbian relationship. It's about them and their story and their love, and there's lots of stories intertwining to tell that story, and it's brilliant. So both of these are recommendations too. So there's quite a lot of recommendations there. I hope I've maybe given you an idea of some you might like to try. Let me know if you try any of these and what your thoughts are. And I've got a stack of books to be reading, but I'm so excited to just be spending a whole day reading graphic novels and comics and just allowing myself to indulge in those pictures and stories. Anyway, I hope you're going to be joining us on the 18th of February, and even if you just get a chance to read one, that would be wonderful. Make sure you send us a picture via Instagram using the hashtag or via Twitter, and I look forward to speaking to you soon. Bye for now, BookTube.